Mike Greiner. I'm a bankruptcy attorney here in Warren, Michigan at the Financial Law Group. And I'm here to talk to you today about some information that's been put out in the media about some of the mortgage companies that are supposedly reducing the foreclosures that they've been doing. There's a lot of information about it out there right now, and unfortunately a lot of the information is either inaccurate or overhyped. So I'm here to kind of give you the facts real fast here. The first thing is that there's been a lot of talk about which mortgage companies are actually either stopping or postponing foreclosures as a result of certain issues with the documents that they have. One of the reports that's been going out consistently is that GMAC is one of those mortgage companies. In fact, GMAC has not stopped any foreclosures at all. In fact, right as soon as this report came out, they sent out a press release stating the fact that they were not stopping their foreclosures at all in any states. And despite that fact, it's continued to be reported in the news, which is really actually kind of frustrating. So for starters, a lot of mortgage companies are not postponing any foreclosures. That's the first thing. The second thing is that Michigan is not impacted by any alleged reduction in foreclosures at all. The states that are impacted, I think there are 23 of them, and they are states that actually have a judicial process of foreclosure where the mortgage company is actually required to sue the person who has the mortgage in his or her name to foreclose on the property. In Michigan, you're actually not required to do that. In Michigan, the mortgage company just has to go through an administrative process called a sheriff's sale to start the foreclosure process. There is no requirement for them to actually sue the mortgagor to start the foreclosure process. In fact, the procedure is a little bit backwards, because if you want to stop the sheriff's sale, if you want to stop the foreclosure process, the way you go is you go ahead and sue the mortgage company to stop the administrative proceeding. But the point is, there is no judicial oversight unless you actually step in and sue the mortgage company to stop the sheriff's sale. And as a result of that, there is no issue with documents. The last issue to be aware of with respect to this is that this is only really a very short delay. It's something that's only going to be temporary. It's something that that all the mortgage companies that are involved in this have already said they're just going to address the issue with the documents and then get started again. Unfortunately, the fact is that these mortgage companies have the documents, that these mortgage companies have the right to foreclose if someone's fallen behind on their mortgage payments, and that they're going to foreclose. And any relief that people are getting is really only very, very temporary at best. The last thing, which unfortunately is a downside, and this is kind of the law of unintended consequences, is that there's also been reports about the fact that people who've been trying to buy property have had their short sales stalled as a result of some issues with documents. So actually, the effort to try to stop the free fall of real estate values by people actually going forward and buying certain foreclosed properties has been stalled as a result of some of this information. But again, it just shows that sometimes one thing that happens on one side hurts something on the other. So unfortunately, there's really not much good news. It's something that's been overhyped in the media, I think, and it's based both on misinformation and unfortunately on, I think, some wishful thinking on some people's parts that something will happen to stop the sheriff's sales. Now, one thing people should be aware of, though, is if you are in a situation where your home's being foreclosed on, and you're unable to get caught up in your mortgage payments, Chapter 13 might be an option for you to keep your home. One thing that we've been able to do for a number of people where they have not been able to actually do a mortgage modification despite repeated requests with the mortgage company is we've been able to do a Chapter 13 case where we get them caught up on their first mortgage and then we actually knock the second mortgage off their home. That's if you've got like an 80-20